Quote, "It was then that I realized that my poor country, India, did not even have a flag of her own. And it was this that triggered off my complete breakdown." This is the story of the 20th century physicist who broke the ceiling for Indians and went on to become the first non-white person to receive the Nobel Prize in Sciences. Welcome to Science Saturdays, a podcast series that takes a journey to the past and sheds light on the achievement of scientists who rejuvenated science and inducted a sense of wonder and curiosity among the populace. My name is Shomijit, and in this episode, we shine the spotlight on the life of Sir Chandrasekhara Venkata Raman. Section 1. A Bright Future. Born in 1888, C.V. Raman grew up to be one of the most meritorious students of his time. His college professors even allowed him to skip science classes because they knew he did not need them. But his true genius lied in the intense curiosity about the world around him. Have you ever wondered why a glass of water is colorless, while the same water in the deep sea appears as brilliant blue? Let's find the answer to this question in the next section, where we discuss Raman's research works. Section 2. The Wonders of Sight and Sound. Raman's earliest research works were in optics and acoustics, two fields to which he would dedicate his entire career. He published his first paper at the age of 18, while he was still a graduate student. He had initially given it to one of his professors to read, but the professor had not bothered. Raman then sent this paper directly to the British journal Philosophical Magazine, and it was published in 1906. In the second paper, he had worked alongside Lord Rayleigh, and they started communicating regularly after this. In their communications, Lord Rayleigh courteously addressed C.V. Raman as Professor because Rayleigh was unaware that Raman was just a teenage student. In 1921, when Raman was a professor at the University of Calcutta, he was invited to London to the International Universities Congress. On the return journey in the ship, he found himself being perplexed at the question as to why the water seemed blue in the seas. He found the existing explanation that the water reflected the color of the skies unconvincing. To find out the true reason, he carried out rudimentary experiments on board the ship using simple optical instruments and found out that the sea looked blue for the same reason the sky looks blue, the water causing the blue light to scatter more than the other colors of the light spectrum. Raman wrote these findings to Nature, a premier science journal, and posted it from the very harbor his ship docked in India. This scattering question preoccupied his mind for the coming years, and he researched about this at the Indian Association of Cultivation and Sciences, Kolkata. This led to him discovering the Raman effect phenomenon, the molecules of liquids changing the color of some of the light passing through them. This phenomenon has proven to be like a fingerprint of a molecule and is used for many analytical experiments in chemistry, biology, and medicine. Fun fact, this principle is used in an instrument called a Raman scanner, which is a device used by the police to detect contraband substances. Section 3. Science and Patriotism. As we mentioned before, Raman was the first Asian to be awarded the Nobel Prize in Sciences. Raman not only received a Nobel Prize but he was even knighted by the British Empire shortly after he discovered the Raman effect. The Hughes Medal by the Royal Society of London is also one of his many accolades. Every year, National Science Day is observed on February 28. The day was instituted in 1987 in the run-up to the birth centenary of the great Indian physicist Nobel laureate Sir C.V. Raman. February 28 is not Raman's birthday, but it was chosen since it was on this day in 1928 that Raman announced his discovery to the world. When C.V. Raman was presented with the Nobel Prize by King Gustav, he felt a wave of emotions. At interview decades later, he said, quote, "I felt truly humbled when I received the prize from King Gustav. It was a moment of great emotion, but I could restrain myself. Then I turned around and saw the British Union Jack, under which I had been sitting, and it was then that I realized that my poor country, India, did not even have a flag of her own. And it was this that triggered off my complete breakdown." Interviews that Raman and Lady Raman gave to the media on their return from overseas had no such mention, though there was a talk of tears of joy. Press reports quoting Lady Raman had said, "He shed tears of joy while in the act of receiving the Nobel Prize, when he thought of the honor that was shown to India by the King of Sweden." The bit about Raman getting upset about the British flag crept into the media reports in 1948 when there was coverage about the 20th anniversary of Raman's Nobel. According to scholars, this might have been a tactical statement to portray the scientist in a patriotic spotlight. C.V. Raman was a patriotic person and made many statements to prove it. For instance, in an interview with the Free Press of India, Raman said, quote, "National awakening has got other fields than politics in which it can show itself. I think the scientific endeavor has certainly a national value, and I have heard it said that what the Indian scientists, particularly physicists, have done has helped more than raise the estimation of India in the world than recent political events." Unquote. Mahatma Gandhi was a good friend of C.V. Raman. Raman received a congratulatory telegram from Gandhi while he was in jail, which dismayed the British Empire. When World War II broke out, Homi Bhabha, another eminent scientist, joined Raman's laboratory at the Indian Institute of Science. Section 4. The Renaissance of Indian Science. In his later years, Raman established institutions like the Raman Research Institute and sponsored the establishment of the Indian Academy of Sciences. He founded many prestigious journals such as the Indian Journal of Physics and Current Science. At the time when India was in the clutches of the British overlords, Raman broke the ceiling for Indians and instilled a scientific temperament and spirit of innovation. Sir C.V. Raman died aged 82 of heart disease on November 21, 1970 in Bangalore, India. We conclude today's session by quoting him. "The true wealth of the nation lies not in a stored up gold, but the intellectual and physical strength of its people." We thank you for sticking to the end of the podcast, and we hope to see you in the next episode where we discuss the life of Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose. If you like this episode, please do like the video and subscribe to our channel for more such infotainment. Also, please share this podcast with your friends and family so that more people are aware of Dr. Raman's achievements.